Okay, so I'm talking to a gentleman who is in touch with somebody in Lahaina, and so can you tell us what's going on and what's happening with the people in Lahaina, please?
So there's kind of two stories. Basically, I got a phone call from a resident that lives there. One of my, he used to be my boss at a company I worked for.
Okay.
And he told, so I think 4 of his family members, their houses burned down. So they're all kind of holed up in his place. And so, with having that many people in one household, the supplies that they had went very quickly. Fortunately, one of his co-workers lives on the Kakaloa, the backside of Lahaina, the other way to come in. So they were allowing residents to come through, people who lived there. So he had a friend drive in and bring him some supplies, a generator, all those things to kind of get them settled. But the only way that he was allowed to access inside is because he was a resident there. So they're not letting any of the people that are in Lahaina go out to get supplies.
So
what he's saying is,
can they go to can they meet somebody at Ma'alaya and then turn around and come back?
So basically, what's happening is the whoever it is, the police or whoever's in that area, are trying to keep people away from traveling towards where the devastation is.
Okay.
So the efforts to try to have somebody meet you to give you supplies are already closing the road. So, they're saying, oh yeah, you guys can access to Ma'alaya and all this, all this other stuff if you guys need to get out, whatever. But that in actuality is not true because they're prohibiting the residents that are there from trying to leave and saying like, well, if you're going to go out, you're not able to come back in. So they're not able to run out and get supplies, that sort of issue. The main focus, which is sad for me to say, but from the people that are there, is the main focus is bringing buses is to get the tourists out of the hotels and stuff. And the residents there are basically left to fend for themselves. They said there's maybe a McDonald's that's open and there's an L&L that's open, and the lines are like miles long to try to get any food or any kind of supplies. And he's saying like, there's no electricity, there's no internet, there's no nothing, there's no water, so they're not having any communication with the outside world, so they don't know if relief's coming. They said there's no Red Cross, there's no nothing. It's basically the effort is mainly to get the tourists out of Lahaina and then and getting whatever left of the brush fires quelched. But they don't see like the county coming in bringing water, trying to get temporary power for the people that are there. They're just stuck basically chewing through their supplies, and they don't know when the relief's coming. So he's in good spirits. The only reason why he was able to call me is because his company cell phone works at a dog park. So he said there's hundreds of people that are at the park because that's the only place, and they're making phone calls and talking to people.
Right.
So a lot of people are wanting to go find their loved ones, go see people that are missing, but they're not allowed to go down to where the wreckage is. Everybody's being kept out, and this part might be a little bit graphic, but it's the truth. And so the problem is there's still bodies in cars that are burned. So that's why they don't want people going down. There's investigations that need to happen, and they're still recovering bodies from the water. And so that's why they're trying to keep everybody out from the devastation area, because they're still trying to collect all the bodies and stuff that as they're sorting through the wreckage. But people are very worried about their loved ones, so they're wanting to go down there to see who it is.
Right.
But they're trying to keep them away from that area. Some of the hotels are open. There's no power or nothing like that, but they're bringing buses in to bus the tourists out and get them evacuated. But there's not any supplies coming in on those buses that are going to go out.
Oh my!
So they're just kind of like, where's the response? What's going? There's a day has passed already, and where's the county? Where's the government? Where's these people that you're counting on to give them some relief, and they're just not seeing it.
Right. And Red Cross isn't there. So, no one's there. I mean, because we have the governor who's bragging about getting federal funding. Of course, I think it's all a money thing, but that's my opinion. They're not doing anything for the residents.
So basically, what I heard, the mayor is not really making any kind of press conference or statements or nothing like that. The only person that really came out is the governor to make a statement, and all he was saying is that, oh, don't worry. He didn't say the federal government. He said Biden is going to give us money. So, I mean, there's volunteers and there's people who want to help, but they're being kept out of the area that needs help.
Right.
So basically all the efforts is to the people who are evacuated, like evacuees, people who are stranded. There's food, there's supplies, there's all those things, but it's on the outside. There's nothing really happening in ground zero where people really actually need it, where people are stuck.
Unbelievable. So what do you think we need to do? Do you think we need to call the governors? I mean, make a phone call to the governor and the mayor? Because the mayor here is lame.
I think what's the frustration that's building there with the residents is they see, I guess I'll have to say one too. I'm like, I think local people make a big deal. Tourism is an important business and whatever. But I think what we're seeing in an emergency situation, we're seeing what our government is catering to, and it's sad.
Mm-hmm.
It is really sad and it's really depressing because it's the local people who are struggling, who are suffering, who lost everything, and they're worried about getting some people out who are on vacation, who may not enjoy themselves. They're worried about getting them out or whatever. You know what I mean? And it's like, where's the effort for the people who live here, who's lost everything? Where's the effort to give them some relief?
Right.
that are still there? That are holed up with the families and stuff. And I guess people would expect a better response that way, but it seems as the focus is not where we would think the residents who live here would be most important. And so there's a little bit of frustration, but they're still trying to stay positive because obviously there's anger, there's emotions, there's feelings, but yet you have to console those who've lost everything, and you don't want to keep negativity. You want to give them positivity. You want to say it's going to be okay, it's whatever, but deep in your mind you're like, where's the Red Cross, where's FEMA, where's all these, where's this response that's supposed to happen? And they haven't seen it yet.
Right.
I don't know if it's on its way, but they're saying no one's communicating to them. There's no one, basically all that they're doing is just focusing on the devastation and keeping people away, and that's like the major, keeping people away from the devastation and getting the tourists out. Those are the two main focuses. This is just one coworker who's there in the middle of Lahaina that's calling me, and I'm hearing other reports from other family members saying it's the same thing for them. There's one gas station that's open, it closes early. You're only allowed to get so many, you only can get so much supplies, and basically, they're all holed up in one place, and if they try to leave or they make an effort to leave, there's no way they're going to get back to their families. So it's like they can't go out and come back and bring their own supplies, so they have to depend upon, whatever these rescue agencies. But the rescue agencies are only focusing on people who are evacuated already, giving them food and giving them shelter and them water, and there's not really any effort coming into ground zero where people are still really desperate. He even told me, sadly enough, it's not all people's fault, but there is some tourists who are like basically living in their cars on the side of the road right now and don't know what to do.
Yeah.
It's not just there's coordination on the effort. I know it blindsided everybody,
right,
obviously, but the coordination on the effort is just not there. Like, we weren't prepared for this situation. We weren't prepared to respond to the disaster like this, and so I don't know how much longer it's going to be. But he's saying like, hey, why isn't there an effort to maybe get the roads cleared up so people can get in and out, so we can do our own supply runs and all that stuff, and we can help the community. Why are we restricting access? And basically what they're trying to restrict access because they don't want people getting footage and filming and all this sort of stuff, which people do want to do.
Right.
But you have to kind of weigh those pros and cons, right? Yeah, you want to keep the area secluded and not people influx of people coming and probably hindering the recovery effort. But you have to let people get out and get supplies that they need.
Absolutely.
For the families that are stuck, you can't have it both ways.
Absolutely.
If you're not going to respond as a government, as a county, then you have to let people do their own due diligence.
Right.
So it's a sad, frustrating situation right now.
Well, it's also sad too because they don't have any electricity. So how are they going to be able to charge their phones to keep in touch with everybody? And then they're trying to find their loved ones that are missing. But again, it's just it's survival at this point, where the people, they just need, they don't even have blankets and pillows to sleep on right now, and they don't have anything. And what I don't understand is they're allowing people to get out of Lahaina and if they're going southbound. So you can get out of Lahaina, but if they're allowing these buses to come in just to take care of the tourists, sorry, I know if you're a tourist listening to this, don't take offense. That they're allowing these buses to come in, and like you said, they're not putting supplies in there. So there's a solution that can be done if the mayor or somebody had any scruples or any kind of heart to think about. I mean, I'm just a little overwhelmed by this right now, and it's just.
I do feel like there's a lot of people, and it. I mean, if anything that it does show is we need. Everybody's known that restricted access to Lahaina has been a huge problem. We've thrown a lot of money at trying to do some kind of bandage repair, but it just goes to show, even in a disaster situation, that limited access, it's so devastating. It makes everything so much worse. That's why people couldn't get out. That's why people can't get in, because of that limited road that we still don't have a solution to fix.
Right.
And it's compounding more now on this problem, because I mean, some people were telling me, like, the footage that we're seeing is nothing compared to the devastation that they're seeing, like being there at ground zero. He said it's way worse than what you think it is. And he said that the tallies of bodies, it's so like not really counted right now, but he said when the final numbers come out, you're going to really understand how devastating this actually was. And, in bigger picture too, I think what he's saying too is, what people are soberly realizing is, not only did people who live and work in the community that they live in, not only did they lose their home, they all just lost their jobs. Right. Businesses that have been around, like family businesses that have been around for generations, burnt to the ground.
Right.
They're thinking along the terms of, are we going to rebuild this business? What can we do? We've lost everything, and everyone's going to be out of work. For all those people that worked in those local areas, they're just like, what do we do?
Right.
And I don't know, as a limited island, if it's kind of, we're sufficient to for everybody to find jobs other places and all their stuff, but they don't even have homes at this point. So I mean, it's thinking future wise. Just getting them supplies right now, it should be the main focus, the main effort. But there's so much more that's going to be even beyond this disaster. We're going to feel the effects of this for years to come, for these people to recover. And everybody's in good spirits and strong, and saying that stay positive, we can rebuild from this. But if you're not going to have help from the entity, the county, and all this other stuff, if they're not going to respond and be proactive and help in the situation, and they're going to tie people's hands, how are you expected to get through this disaster? This is a part where it shouldn't be a control issue. It should be an issue of humanitarian, and letting people get in, who wanna help, who wanna get these efforts going, get these people food, supplies, things that they need, maybe a better permanent living situation. But it's I don't know what it is. I don't know why they're trying to limit information coming out of there or whatever, and if that's why that's the main focus. But it shouldn't be. The humanitarian effort should be the main focus. I mean, even you got to bring helicopters in there, for goodness sake. Well, they do something.
Well, even a boat. I mean, think about this. If they're able to drop food to war zones for the military, they have that ability, and there are tour company helicopters filming footage. So, I mean, they're allowing people in the airspace. They're not allowing the boats to come in. I have a question. Where's your friend staying at?
He's a higher up on the mountain in Lahaina. The family where they were living was closer to the civic center.
Okay.
And so all their houses, most of their houses were burnt down. His actually mother-in-law's home didn't burn down. Just her backyard was burnt up and all their stuff. But the family's all kind of staying in their condo close together. But it's the devastation is mostly from that civic center on. So they're back further past that. Like Kapalua side and all that wasn't affected too much. So there's some solace in that area. But just that main Lahaina town, he said everything is gone. Every single thing is gone.
So they're reporting 6 deaths and 200 homes had burned. How wrong?
It's more in the thousands.
Oh my gosh!
It's more in the thousands, and he said probably just a rough count of what they're hearing around in the place like that. They've discovered over 200 bodies already, probably.
Oh my gosh!
It's very, very bad.
Oh my gosh! Well, I'm going to go ahead and post this, and I want to go ahead and get a lot of people to get involved in making some phone calls and getting in the ear of people that need to hear this. And because we're not getting any information outside of the 6 deaths and 200 homes, and that's all they're saying. And there's no way, from the aerial footage, there's no way there's 200. There's, like you said, there's thousands. I mean, how far up the hill did it go? Did it go all the way up to, like, towards the Lahaina Luna area?
It's below the school.
Okay.
Just below the schools.
Okay.
Yeah, but those houses up on the hill did burn down.
Oh my! And so there's all the banks are burned down, and your church had burned down up there. Yeah, King's Cathedral.
The church burned down.
Yeah.
The gas station next to the church blew up.
Oh my gosh! And And so where are people staying? Because the academy that was open as a shelter, they had to evacuate 2 nights ago. Where are people?
So basically people they're people who are able to come out are staying, like, at the church, the King's Cathedral on the corner. There's some civic centers that are open. The Maui Memorial. So there's a bunch of and then they're actually flying a bunch of people out to Oahu, to another island where the convention center is, and there's about 4,000 people, I think. They said that they took out already that are holed up there on the other islands. So.
But I read that was for tourists only. Are those also for residents? But
that has been the basically that has been the big focus, is getting the tourists out of Maui and into shelters on another island, which I can understand, because basically, we're going to have limited resources as an island, so you don't want a bunch of people that you have to give resources to when you can get them somewhere else, where Oahu obviously has more of what's needed.
Yeah.
Something like that. But the residents, they need help. I mean, they're calling, hey, what's going on, asking questions. They don't have much information themselves. So,
right.
At this point, that's major. That's number one, is just get them supplies, get them water, get them all that stuff. Can we get them some temporary power, all that other stuff.
Right.
Just basic necessities that people need.
Well, I thank you for sharing this, because the world needs to know, and we're being stifled from the truth again. So thank you very much for reaching out to your friend. I am so sorry about this. We just feel, even living here, we feel helpless. We can't even get stuff to them, but they're definitely able to get the tourists out, and that I have a thought on that. So we'll be reaching out to the government to see, to just rattle their cages right now. And if you're listening, Governor and Mayor of Maui, you need to start doing your job. And the media is very lame. Maui 24/7 on Facebook is the only place that's getting up-to-date information. So thank you, and I'll be sharing this. I'll be posting this. So if you don't mind, I'm going to just share this with the world. And I really appreciate your giving me some insight to this. Thank you very much for this.
Of course.
We just...
And everybody out there, just pray for Maui, because Maui needs your prayers.
Thank you.
The people need strength, and they need God to intervene. And on a good note, just to end, don't want anything, end on it bad, but it was so nice to see just some heavy rainfall this morning.
Yeah.
And I saw some rainbows, and it just reminded me that, even through these difficult situations, God always has a way to turn things for the good. Yeah. And that the people will be resilient, and God will help them through this situation.
Right.
And so,
God bless you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
All right.
All right.
You guys have a wonderful day.
Yes, thank you. All right. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.